Welcome in this new episode of A Coffee and Move On. In today's episode, I want to talk about mental health and the impact mental health can have on your life, on your work, on your relationship, on everything. But before we start to dig into those different points, I want to talk about mental health in general and the importance of it. Because we have a tendency of forgetting that mental health can have a massive impact on our life. Mental health is as important as physical health. Of course, if you break your leg, you're gonna struggle to work, you're gonna struggle to walk, you're gonna struggle to train, or you're just gonna be like a real pain in your life if you break your leg. That's a fact. If you break your arm, wherever, if you get sick and you need to go to hospital, if you get like a disease, it's gonna be a massive impact on your life. But it's also most of the time something you can physically see. If I break my arm, you're gonna see that my arm is broken. If I need to go to hospital because I got like something really wrong with me, you're gonna see it because I'm gonna have like really low energy and I'm probably gonna be in hospital. So all of physical health is gonna massively impact you. And we have the massive importance about mental health. But I think we have a tendency to forget how much mental health is as important as physical health. And everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people see mental health as a weakness, as, oh, well, you got like struggle with mental health, so you're weak, or you are depressed. What are you talking about? It's not really it's in your head. It's not that big of a deal. You are making a big deal of it. Take some medication, we'll be fine, or whatever. Are you overplaying it? It's something that is really common in every daily conversation, and it is something really difficult to open up about. I know when I'm struggling mentally, there's not that many people that I can go talk to because I feel I'm gonna get judged because they grew up in a place where mental health is considered as a weakness, that it's not really a thing, it's not really true, that mental health is just you being weak. And when you when you go talk to those people, you cannot feel judged. You feel like you shouldn't feel sad, you shouldn't feel depressed, or you don't have really much reason to complain, and that you shouldn't open up about it and you shouldn't complain. You should move on and go up your day, like move on and just go with your life. When when you talk to those person, you feel even worse about yourself. You feel even weaker, and you even feel more like there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You struggle with life, something happened, you lost someone, you went through a trauma, you got PTSD, or whatever it is that impacts you, but there's nothing wrong with you. You are struggling with life, and because life is not easy, and some people have more baggage than others. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just like a broken arm, it's just like a broken leg. There's a moment in life that your mental health is gonna impact your life, is gonna set you back. When you get a broken arm, it's gonna set you back. If you get like a stage of depression, a moment of depression, it's gonna set you back, and it's normal. It's normal to talk about it. It's normal to open up about it, and it's normal to also, in a way, to have it. Mental health is real. And I think we have a tendency to forget that, especially in some culture like Eastern European, or even like in Italy or sort of Europe, wherever, is usually quite taboo. Family or people from those families usually don't dare talk about it to the parents and the family. I know also like the older generation don't believe in mental health. People, I know, for example, my grandmother used to work on a farm, and not work on a farm, but she kind of grew up in the countryside, so she was kind of in that world of countryside world, and she didn't really believe in mental health. They're like, come on, get over it, stop crying, I'm gonna give you a reason to cry about. So she was more in a mindset. And I know when I was a kid, I couldn't I it was something like, you couldn't cry, you couldn't be upset. If my dad was gone like cycling for the day, and I was missing my dad, I couldn't cry about it. She was like, oh, come on, get over it, he's gonna come back, what are you crying about? It's kind of that kind of generation. Does that mean they're wrong? Yes and no. I will say no because they grew up that way. That's the way they believed, and all the people won't change their mind. All the people, it is the brain is set that way, and you won't change it. You just know that you need to avoid certain conversation with them and certain subject with them. Younger generation have no excuse to not understand mental health. We made a massive progress in mental health. We understand more about it. There is way more therapy. There is way more websites. There's like different like application to help you, and we find way more ways to deal with it. Does that mean that the generation became weaker? No, it's just we find a way, and we understood that it's important to talk. We found that talking is actually really important. That doesn't mean that our generation became weaker. It's just that we are more open and we try to understand the bigger picture. Before, when something happened, usually, for example, my granddad, the husband of my grandmother, that was really harsh, he struggled all his life. He was kind of the the small guy of that family, and he was kind of mocked, not really bullied, but he was a bit mocked, and he kind of had like a lot of struggle in his life. He had a few addiction with alcohol. That was his way of dealing with life, because he could never talk about his mental health, or it's never something he could do, because in that generation, talking about the way you felt was seen as a weakness. So what he did, he turned to alcohol, he turned to depression, he turned to being a angry little man who drinks too much. That's because he could never be honest with who he was. He could never. Sorry, someone just banged my door and I had to register the number plate. Anyway, so I was saying, my granddad could never actually talk about the way he was, and I'm sure his life would be different if he could actually talk about mental health, open up about mental health, open up about the way he felt, and not feeling like he should grow up and deal with his emotion, or that everything that he's going through is normal. And I think most people that go through that road of addiction, or being angry, or living angry, living sad, and being petty, and all of that, is because they could never deal with the real root of the issue, and used nastiness and being angry because they couldn't really talk about what was wrong. And that's why mental health and talking about it is really important. Open up is really important. Don't be afraid to talk, because you can see how messed up the old generation was, and you don't want to be like that. You want to be able to be happy, open up, have a life, be able to go out with your friends without too much anxiety, not going down on a road of drinking too much, or go through addiction, different addiction. You want to be able to be honest with people. You don't want to live in a world where you just don't talk about the problems in your family. In my family, we don't talk about any of the problems, and it causes even more issues, because everyone is sad, everyone is miserable. We just don't talk about it. We just decide to leave it like that, and it just creates like even more issues. So be honest. You want to be able to live in a world where you can be honest about how you feel. If someone hurts you, say it. If you're sad, say it. If something happened to you, say it. That is to someone of your family, a therapist, or whatever, or even writing it down. That's for the part about like mental health. But of course, bad mental health can impact, let's say, your work. It can be really difficult to find work, to be able to go to work. You can be really anxious about just the idea of getting up and going to work, and having that control over you. The factor of you need to be there and you can't escape, and the fear of not of knowing that you can't escape and you need to be there. So working can be so challenging. For working, especially working for someone, working for yourself, usually for people who struggle with really bad mental health or really bad PTSD, will probably be a better option, because you can decide on your hours, you can decide what you do, your own rules. You don't have control. Nobody have control on you. You have control on your own decision. Yeah, and usually it can be even more difficult because you don't have the pressure of I need to show up. I need to follow some rules that I'm not agreeing with it. Someone is going to control me. I'm going to feel judged. I need to put like a mask on all day and pretending everything is fine when it's not. Working for yourself can be a solution. Of course, not everyone can work for themselves. If your anxiety is really, really bad, working for yourself can be even more difficult because it's going to put more pressure on your shoulder that you don't really need. Then it's going to need to find a work that is okay and accepting mental health. But of course, most job, if you go to them and you say like, I want to apply for this job. By the way, I got really bad anxiety, I got PTSD, and I got depression, so I may not always show up to work. I may struggle to be there, and I may struggle to do my work. Can I have the job? They will say no. They will go for someone with no trouble, someone with no issues. And if you go by kind of lying on, not really lying, but not really showing the true self and say, oh yeah, no, everything is fine. I will be there on time. I can work properly. I have no issues. I'm a hard worker, all of that. And then bit by bit, they're going to realize that actually you got anxiety, depression, you struggle with mental health, you struggle with control. You don't like people walking on your head and all of that. It is going to be a chaos. And then you're going to feel in your little, you're going to feel like really alone and lonely. You will feel like you have no one to talk to and you're going to be isolated. And you may be good at your job, but because you got mental health issues and you're not always reliable, you sometimes miss work, or you may try to work from home more often, or you need more time off, or wherever it is, or you need some adaptation made for you. Even if you're good at your job, you're gonna still be put on the side because people don't like. I don't think it's being scared. I think they just don't like. They see mental health as a weakness, so they're gonna put you on your side, and they're just gonna hang up with people who are seems funny, or they're like with no trouble or no issues. People want an easy life. People want just something easy. So if they see someone with mental health, it's like trouble. I'm not talking to them. I want something easy and without drama. And they see mental health with drama. So if when your mental health is gonna show at work, then it's like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not talking to them. So it can make like work life really difficult. So it's gonna be even more anxious for you. So the solution will be, if you can and your anxiety is not too bad, work for yourself. Get a job when you can work for yourself and be your own boss, your own rules, and your own hours. If your anxiety is really bad, I would say, of course, go to therapy. Try to talk to someone. Go try to find a therapist when you can talk to, and try to find some ways of doing it. I would say medication will be up to your own decision. I personally decide not to choose medication because I have a really big fear of control. And I feel like if I take something that changed my personality, I will freak out. I won't like that. So I tried medication, didn't work for me. May work for you. Again, it needs to come from your own mind and your own decision. But it's a possibility. And the best is finding a job where you are paid enough so you can live, but also where is not too much stress and not too much, like, where we don't ask too much of you. And then if you feel comfortable in a job, then you can like slowly try to progress, but try to start quite low, where you can have not too much responsibility and you don't have that anxiety part. And a job maybe where you can still work from home, because then you are in a safe place and you know the space, and you can, if you freak out, you can go outside. If you freak out, you can make a cup of coffee or whatever. You don't have someone behind your back watching you. You are like free to do whatever you want. So that would be a possibility, because I know that if you have PTSD, mental health, depression, or whatever it is, working can be a real challenge. But it's always without working for yourself, working from home, or wherever. There's always a way to not make it perfect, but to make it manageable without triggering you anxiety too much. Now, if we talk about relationships, with the second point I want to talk about, it can be as well really challenging, not only for you, but mostly for your partner. Because you are used to your mental health being the way it is. You are used to feel sad or angry or depressed or numb or whatever. But when that happened and you were single, it could be easy because you were used to it and you could live, I don't know, put your earphones out, going for a walk, going to the gym, or watching TV shows, staying in bed, or wherever it was. You had the control on the way you felt, and the only person who felt bad about it was yourself. In a relationship, it's so much more difficult because when you have mental health issues, when your mental health is not 100%, you can have like mood swings, you can have anger issue, you can have like irritability, you know the word, like when you get like an angry little person, and if someone says something you're just not happy about it and you can be snappy. So you add all of those things that come in, and of course it's not nice for your partner because you're being nasty to your partner, not because you're mad at them, but because you're angry at the world, you're angry at yourself, you're angry about your mental health, and you just snap for no reason. And of course your partner take it personally when it is absolutely not. It's just something that is linked to your past, linked to your traumas or PTSD or wherever it is. And it's finding the way to communicate, but also when you communicate, usually you will feel like they don't understand you. Even if they say they do, you will not feel like fully understood. You will feel like there's that little piece missing, and it kind of gonna dictate your life. You will feel like it's taking over your life. That's gonna be really challenging to get over it, to get past it. You will need to find a partner that dealt with mental health issues as well, or someone who is really understanding, because that's gonna be probably the most challenging part. Work is only from 9 to 5 or wherever it is. Relationship is from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep. You are with your partner, or you are linked to your partner, so it's gonna impact them even if you're not in the same room as them. So you need to find a partner that is understanding enough and is willing to work with you on that issue. That it can be finding a solution or finding something that works for you, that's leaving you alone, trying to talk about it, like getting you something, or going for a walk with you, or leaving you alone and just leaving the house, the flat, or the apartment, wherever, for a bit. And whatever it is gonna be finding someone that is understanding enough for you to be able to be better or not making it worse. Of course, again, therapy is a good solution to try to work on it. When you're by yourself, it doesn't, of course, it matters because you don't want to waste your life being unhappy and miserable, having mental health issue. But if you're not ready to talk about it, it's fine. Take your time. You by yourself, take your time. If you're with a partner, it's more difficult because every second you are also impacting your partner. And of course, if you don't want that because it's not healthy for your relationship, you're gonna need to find someone to talk to, or again, maybe going on medication if it's something you want to do. Again, I'm not saying you need to do it. It didn't work for me. Maybe work for you. This is up to your own judgment. But talking to someone will be really important. Finding someone that you trust enough to talk about what happened to you or why you have depression or anxiety, PTSD or whatever, like finding someone that can make it better, because it's not only impacting you, it's impacting both of you. And it's important that you understand that yes, your partner signed up for it, but it's not easy for your partner to see you suffering. If your partner loves you, they don't want to see you suffer. They don't want to see you being miserable. They don't want to see you seeing you depressed. Not because it's annoying them, but because if they love you, they don't want to see you suffer. Like you don't want to see your partner suffer as well. You don't want to send them suffering and be bad and being depressed or whatever. You want to see them happy and living the best life and enjoying every moment. That's why mental health can have a massive impact on relationship. Like I said, especially with the mood swings and all of that, they will not be able to know how to handle it or to do know what to do with it, because you're gonna talk to them and they will say like, yeah, I understand, and they will actually understand as best as they can, but you will not feel like hurt. You will not feel like they can understand you because it's too complex or whatever. But they don't need to understand you fully. They just need to know that you are suffering. They need to know how they can make it better, and they need to be there for you and listen to you. That's all. Nobody can understand how you feel. And we always want that, yeah, but they don't understand how I feel. Or, yes, because they're not inside you. They don't, yes, because they don't like live in your head. They don't live in your body. They cannot know how you feel. Only you can know how you feel. But you can, they can listen to you. They can do the best to help you and get you out of there. That's the best they can do, and it's enough. And that's what you need to understand. They don't need to understand. They need to be there for you, and that's the most important. And it's also of you to do your step towards them by seeking help by a professional or finding a way to make it better. That we will talk after the few different ways that you can make it not better, but that could help, because like I said, it can be a big impact on your life, on your relationship, on work, or wherever it is, on your family, on your parents, wherever it can be. But the most important is to understand where it comes from, trying to seek some help, and understanding that people will never understand you, but they can be there for you. And finding a work that is doesn't make everything worse. Like if they bully you, put you on the side, or wherever it is that makes you even more uncomfortable. That's not it. Change, run away from the place and find a place where they're a bit more understanding. Because places like that exist. They're difficult to find. A place like that exists. Place where you can feel comfortable at work exists. For the last part, I want to talk about 2 minutes about the different ways that can make it better. For example, we all know the typical one: exercise, eat well, sleep. Those one, I know they can be difficult to do when you're like in a deep depression, but it's important to try to focus on them. Even if it's step by step, it's important to try to exercise, eat well, and try to get some sleep. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just need to every day, every week, every month, need a little bit better. So like it can be starting by exercising once a week to exercising twice a week, 3 times a week. It can be from eating only one healthy meal a day to 2 healthy meals a day to 3 healthy meals a day. Take it step by step. Don't try to go all in, but try to implement those 3 things in your life. Journaling can be another one. Again, not everyone is fan of it, but it's worth the try. Maybe you're not convinced about it, but maybe if you try, you will maybe get attached to it, or maybe find a way that it helps. You can be talking about your day, talking about how you feel, talking about what makes you sad, the good thing, the bad thing in the day, what happened good in your day and what was bad in your day, and putting everything in perspective. Journaling could be a really good way of exterioring and feeling, okay, maybe they didn't understand me, but at least by putting it on paper, I have like a better, it's kind of like you see it from a different perspective. Like when you have something in your mind, you kind of have like that. But if you write down, you can have a better perspective on what you wrote down, on what happened in your day. And you may realize it's actually not that bad, or that maybe you've reacted, or actually it may be that bad, but you could have you done reacted a different way. What did you learn? What was good? What was bad? Whatever. Journaling can be a really good way to have a different perspective on the world. So try it every day. Try it maybe like once a week, and then try to go up, or start every day by one sentence, or wherever it is. But it could be a good way to try to make it a little bit better. It's always something to try. The last one I will say is, of course, going to see someone, seeking professional help. Like I say in every podcast, I personally found a lot of benefit in it of seeing someone. I mostly did it when I started my relationship, because I saw when I start to feel and be a bit less dissociated and start to feel emotion, I realized how much I was missing in my life. And at the time, my life was a bit of a mess with work and everything. So I decided to see a therapist and seek professional help. And I did a lot of progress since I saw her. Since we started together, I did a lot of progress. Is it perfect? Of course, no. Am I better? Yes. Do I take the wins? Yes. Do I accept when it doesn't get better, when I kind of go back down? It's difficult to accept, but I try to accept it, because healing is not linear. Healing is gonna be like that. And with a therapist, even worse, you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm gonna make progress, and then suddenly something gonna happen, and you're gonna feel like down, 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 and the fall is gonna feel even worse when you are start to heal. Because when you're already in a state of depression, you won't really feel the down. You feel like, yeah, it's just a normal day. But when you start to feel better, when you start to feel something, and something bad happen, you're gonna feel like you're gonna crash down, and that can be really scary. But healing is really important. Seeing someone is really important. Seeking help is really important. You don't need to like see the therapist every week, see how much it costs, see how much you can afford, but just knowing that once, I don't know, once a month, you're gonna have something to look forward to, something to look that you know you're gonna work on it, can be really helpful, because you're gonna have like something to look forward to, someone you can know, you can talk to, and they're gonna be honest with you, and they're gonna try to help you, and gonna try to help you progress. So that it can be really important for you, and probably gonna be on a second, I would say, on the list. Like first one would be exercising, eating well, and sleeping, and the second one will be therapist, and the third one will probably be journaling. So that will be my 3 tips that I can give you to try to get better and try to have a different approach on mental health, and try to slowly understand yourself, letting your partner understand you, and slowly try to get your emotion under control. Slowly try to get your anxiety, your fears, your PTSD under control, and to slowly fix the way you feel and feel better in your skin, feel better in your head, feel better in your job, and feel a bit more free and happy, and just having that feeling like that weight on your shoulder is gone. Anyway, I'm going to end up the podcast here, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Please share the podcast. It will really be helpful for me and for others. And if you like the podcast, please subscribe. It would be really helpful for me. I'm trying to grow together that those messages out to help people. So please subscribe. It will be really helpful. I'll see you next time for the next episode of A Coffee and Move On.